Over the past several weeks, I've been working on the redesign for my bug out bag, and during that time I've been searching for inspiration through a variety of different sources and just trying to do creative thinking to help improve my system. So a lot of the sources have been through other people's YouTube channels, through doing Google searches, through looking at different websites, and those have all been really great for me. But another source that I'm heavily inspired by that I don't see discussed as often is through they're a group of urban survivalists that I see on a daily basis. And those people generally aren't referred to urban survivalists. They're generally referred to as the homeless. And, just people that are out there living on the streets, sleeping on cardboard, and just trying to survive on a daily basis. And I consider those guys just a wealth of information that I should be learning from to try to help improve my systems and my knowledge. Because I consider them the experts in urban survival, even more than the majority of people that you see on YouTube. These guys are out there for months, for years, for decades almost, just living on the street, surviving, and in whatever local environment they're in. So I live in the Seattle area, for example, so they're out there living in Seattle in an urban environment. So these are the people that I want to learn from and get inspiration to help integrate and back into my own prepping needs in my bug out bag, for example. These guys don't have REI memberships and fancy equipment like a lot of us have. They don't have titanium mugs, and they don't have orange signal flares or a Nook with emergency information on it, or fancy fixed blade knives. They have very basic things that they have, for example, cardboard or tin cans and a grocery cart, and maybe a warm jacket, and that's it. And the rest of it's just all through knowledge and through experience. And so that's kind of the information that I want to learn from and try to see if I can incorporate either back into my system or just have that knowledge or just be like gold for me. So I know that the homeless, they do have assistance from a working society. So there's homeless shelters, there's food banks, and places that they can get help. But for the most part, they're sleeping on concrete. And they're living in the rain and in the cold, and that's something I haven't done myself in an urban environment, and I'm sure that a lot of you guys probably haven't either. So this is something that I want to learn from and try to get inspiration through. So I'm going to create a new set of videos based off of this topic, and I'm just going to call it Urban Street Survival, Learning from the Homeless. So I want to learn some of the skills and the knowledge that these guys have through they have an awful circumstance that they're in. It's just, I would hate to be in that circumstance. So, but at the least I could do is at least learn from what they're doing and seeing if it could help me in my situation. So in case I was ever in a survival situation in an urban environment, I could reference some of the knowledge that I've learned through them. So far, I don't have the courage to just go up and ask one of my local homeless people questions that I have. I imagine they would find that insulting. They're in an awful circumstance that I would never want to be in, and so I don't really necessarily want to just go up and start asking them about homeless gear, for example. But I'd still want to gather information, and so far I've only been doing that from observing from afar and not doing any specific directed questions. So recently I was turned on to a site that I had no idea existed, and it's through the International Homeless Forum, and here's the URL. So it's www.homelessforums.org, and I encourage all of you, if you're interested in this topic, to go to that site and check it out. It's a place for current and former homeless people from all around the world to share their experiences online. There's forums on life lessons of the streets, on observations and tips and tales that they've gone through, living out of a car, living in tent city. There's forums on for students to ask homeless people questions on certain topics, and it's just been an absolute goldmine of information for surviving in an urban scenario, which is what my scenario. So I've been really surprised on some of the things I've learned so far. I've learned about something called a street sway, which is kind of like a portable bed that they have. Penny stoves. I've heard of hobo stoves. I've never heard of a penny stove before, and ways of making that for cooking food. And so I started a thread on one of the forums, just kind of asking about some of the essential gear that are used by the homeless. And the responses I've gotten so far have been, very interesting, because they're very, things that I take for granted in my life, but for the homeless, it's like, that's their basic gear that they have, and the most essential things. For example, they don't have any of this stuff. They want to have a can opener and they don't need a big knife, big fixed blade knife. They just having a little Swiss Army knife is what they need, and having a water bottle, not necessarily an Nalgene water bottle, but just something from 7-Eleven maybe. Toothbrush and scope to keep their their teeth and their breath clean. So also, a good pair of socks to have. Nice, good underwear, and then that's it. And then after that, it's all just basic knowledge and life experiences that they have from living on the streets. That's their gear. It's not any of the fancy stuff that I'm kind of building into my systems. And I'm just finding that absolutely fascinating and stuff that I want to learn. So over the next few weeks, I'm planning on making several different videos. And trying to just kind of filming myself trying to learn some of these things that I'm learning, not just through this website, but through observation of the homeless that are in my community. And all those videos will fall under the name of Urban Street Survival. And so I'm going to try to, implement some of the ideas that I'm learning from them back into my system. So maybe possibly back into my bug out bag. So for example, taking the grocery cart and seeing if I could take that and utilize it in my own environment, setup or system. So, and filming that. And a lot of this is going to be trial and error because I have no experience with it. I have no experience building a hobo stove, for example. So these are some of the things I'm going to kind of do for my own personal research to try to help improve my systems and just learn this wealth of information that these urban survivalist experts have. So through, through their unfortunate situation that they have, I can hopefully make a positive and maybe help myself and my family. So I'm just absolutely fascinated with the knowledge that these people have through living on the streets. So I'm hoping that you guys could post comments maybe or send me private messages on some of the things that you see in your own local environment that the homeless people are doing to survive. Maybe something that you've noticed that they do that might be something that would be good for me to learn or to try to integrate or just kind of talk about. And hopefully this would kind of be a collaboration amongst all of us, like-minded people. So I'm going to try to see if any of that could be integrated back into my own systems. And so during this time, I'm never going to refer to these guys as bums. I don't think that's a fair term to use for the homeless. You don't have to be a homeless to be a bum. You could live in a nice house and still be considered a bum, in my opinion. So these are just going to be homeless people. These guys are down on their luck. The people on this website they're highly functioning people. They're just, perhaps just had a rough deck of cards in life. They're just in an awful situation. They lost their money, lost their job, lost their family, have no one to kind of help them out. And so they're out there living on their own, living on the streets. So on this website, a lot of the people that are talking on there, these are the highly functioning homeless people. They're not the druggies or the drunks. They're the people that are just, have awful circumstance that they're in situation that, and they're just trying to survive on the urban environment. So these people just have a wealth of information that I'm going to be planning on learning from. I'm hoping that maybe some of you guys might be interested in a similar topic and we could collaborate and kind of improve all of our systems by learning through the unfortunate circumstance that these guys are in. So this next set of videos that I'll be doing over the next few weeks is just urban street survival, learning from the homeless. I'm still going to be doing other things for my bug out bag and other topics that I've already talked about, but these will be another set of videos. They'll be under their own playlist and something that I find extremely fascinating. For example, I might make a video on making a hobo stove and seeing if I could use my 5-pound tool bag. I've talked about this in another video. See if I have all the tools in there to make one. I've seen some guys make hobo stoves and they're using electric drills and saws and stuff that they might not have in a bug out environment. So I'm wondering, can my 5-pound tool bag actually make some of this gear? So these are all things that I'm going to be looking into and researching and trying to help improve my systems, just make me more knowledgeable in urban street survival. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave comments. Hopefully we'll get a dialogue going and a collaboration, and this will to try to learn from the unfortunate circumstance that the homeless people are in to help improve our own systems for urban street survival. So hope you enjoyed this video. Talk to you guys later.